Ryan G, I don't know what you think about the Josh Hart signing. I know you got lots.
Well, I think my lot probably comes from the fact that I just wanted to get like whiny Knicks fans on Twitter about the move because I feel like a lot of them are reacting off emotion as opposed to logical thinking.
I
Because
mean, welcome to Knicks Twitter.
I know it's Knicks Twitter, so it's expected. But I just sometimes I can't stand the stupidity of some Knicks fans because I'm like, okay, look, like, because I read a whole bunch of Knicks Twitter crap. I don't respond to a lot of it because a lot of it just pisses me off, and I know that if I get into an argument with certain people, I'm just gonna get mad. So I pretty much just read and avoid. But because I hear some people talking about, oh, the Knicks gave up Cam Reddish, and that's like a first that they gave up, and then they gave up another first to Portland, and so it's like we gave up two firsts for Josh Hart.
Yeah, they doing the
yeah,
math to be negative is crazy. To do the
like,
extra math to find the negative in the is
exactly. I'm like, yo, these people are crazy. Like, yo, what's wrong with you people?
the math
Like,
don't even be
yo,
naffing.
first and foremost, you trade three players who are not in the rotation for a player who's going to play in the rotation. And in that first round pick you gave up, okay, it's a Knicks pick, I get it, but it's heavily protected. God forbid the Knicks run it. God forbid if the Knicks fall into the lottery, that pick comes back to the Knicks. So essentially, so if push comes to shove, that's going to be a Knicks pick if Knicks fall into the lottery, number one. Number two, okay, best case scenario, which I think the case will be the Knicks make the playoffs. It's not a lottery pick. Okay, that pick does go to the Blazers, but guess what? The Knicks still have the Mavs pick. So Knicks are going to still be able to pick in the 2023 NBA draft coming up. The Mavs have freaking Luka and Kyrie Irving. So that pick is going to come through because that's top 10 protected. No way the Mavericks are going to be in the lottery. And even if the Knicks kept their pick, more than likely the Knicks would be picking around that same low mid-range anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like people complaining about the Knicks giving up that pick. I'm like, I do not get it. Like, do y'all even think these things true? Honestly, but okay, back to the Josh Hart thing. So, okay, so Josh Hart. Ariel pretty much said a lot right there. Like, I think Josh Hart will help the Knicks in a lot of ways. He strengthens the bench, which is number one. And I've been calling for it like since like earlier, like a few episodes ago. Like Knicks need to strengthen this bench.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. And Hart's like a Swiss Army knife. Like he does a lot of things that can help the team. Especially I think that the thing I like most about him is the fact that he's a good rebounder at his side. And the fact he likes to push the pace a bit. And then, how we complain about, Obi not getting easy baskets and stuff like that. With Josh Hart here, I think he will help in that department to get the Knicks on the fast break a little bit more than they do.
Yeah.
So I do like that aspect of his game and the fact that he does play defense. Now, the minutes distribution does kind of concern me, but from what I've heard Thibs say, because there was a report from Mark Berman, there was a report from Mark Berman like right after the trade deadline where he basically said that Thibs does not trust Obi's IQ on the court. He basically said that Thibs thinks Obi's IQ is trash. And then Thibs made another quote earlier today, and he said that he can see himself playing hard at power forward sometimes.
Yeah. I was right then and there.
Right then and there, that tells me maybe it's not McBride's minutes that's in trouble. Maybe it's Obi's minutes that's in trouble, and maybe there is truth to what Mark Berman is saying. Because why would Thibs say that for a guy who's just 6'5"?
Yeah.
So right then and there, like it's looking kind of bad for Obi at the moment, and that Thibs quote does not help Obi's position at all. But overall, I do like the move though for Josh Hart.
Ariel, Josh Hart playing the four.
Huh?
You're okay.
No, okay. So like, if a different coach said that, I don't think it'd be a concern, because I think Hart can play the four in the right, in the right setting, and the right matchups. He's capable of it. He's strong. He's stronger than he looks. He has a good wingspan. He plays hard. He crashes the glass. Like, I don't think it's a big deal. But I also at the same time, I don't think Thibodeau will ever like remove Obi from the rotation, And that's not because I think Thibodeau likes Obi. I just think the front office like values Obi a lot more than Thibodeau does.
Yeah.
There was a report, I think Begley had the report where they wanted like significant like draft assets in return for a trade for Obi.
Yep.
So I think it shows that the Knicks front office at least does value Obi. And even when Obi was like god awful, and remember his rookie season, those first like 2 months where he couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
and it looked bad. Yeah, like Thibodeau still kept playing him, and that's not, I don't think because Thibodeau wanted to play him. I just think he kind of has to give Obi minutes because it's kind of mandated by the front office. He's Obi, regardless of how people feel about him, he was this Knicks front office, well like Leon Rose's first lottery pick, and that's always going to mean something. They picked him 8. They believe in him at least. So I don't think Hart's minutes will come at the expense of Obi. I don't know, but the quote is a little scary. I'm not gonna lie, but
Tisby Tibbin area. I don't know about that, man.
I don't know, man. I just think I don't know. I can't. I just can't see a world where they're not playing Obi. Not because I just think the front office values him too much for Thibodeau to like completely go against him like that.
I don't think.
But we'll see.
I don't think there'll be a world where Obi plays 0 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. No, he might not get more than 10.
But I see a world where he goes, oh, now he's going from 10 minutes a game to like 7. I can see him doing that. 7, 6 minutes. Yeah. I can see him starting to chip away and let's play small now. And
in theory, though, like on
Josh
paper,
Hart at the I can see that.
Yeah, in theory, though, on paper, like it makes getting Josh Hart should make playing Obi easier, like at least in Thibodeau's mind, because one of the biggest complaints Thibodeau has always had with like the Julius and the Obi lineup is that they don't rebound enough. Well, if you plug in Hart, Obi, and Randall, that should help mitigate some of the problems. Now, I still don't think we'll see it. Just because I just think Thibodeau is not a fan. But I think in theory, like those two shouldn't be competing with each other. And even I see this a lot with Knicks fans on Twitter where like now they're like, oh, but Hart should be starting over Grimes and then RJ should go to the bench. And we gotta stop making these guys compete against each other. They're all on the same team. Having more options is a good thing. I see it way too much. I'm like, even if RJ's on the bench for this fourth quarter tonight, it doesn't mean like he's garbage now and like he's useless and the Knicks have no need for him. Tomorrow night might be his night. You know, it's a good thing to have multiple options. The best teams in the NBA, the Celtics, the Bucks, they have multiple lineups that they can go to. They have multiple guys that can play multiple positions. You want that kind of versatility. Yeah. So I'm already seeing it now, and it's like annoying. I hate it. Yeah. I hate it with a passion.
Whoa, Eric, you're making way too much sense. All right, you can't be over here talking about we all on the same team and we should get along. That's crazy talk. All right. Even though I'll even say this, I'm guilty of the Mitch Hartenstein thing. I would say I was guilty of that because Hartenstein was so bad for so long.
I mean, in fairness, he was really bad. I always had faith in Hartenstein. I'm a big Hartenstein guy. I think he was a little hurt to start the season. I think a report came out something about his Achilles was bothering him or something because he was really good. I also think that, and this is like a whole different thing that we can go on for another 20 minutes. So I'm just going to touch on it really quick. I think there's a conversation to be had about like guys like veterans that have come in with the Knicks. Besides Brunson, they've kind of taken a while to acclimate to kind of Tibbs' system on offense and defense. I think we saw it with Fournier, for example, where at the end of last season, he kind of figured out what Thibodeau wanted from him,
right? Where
he had less on-ball stuff and he was just mostly in the corner. So I think there's especially next season, if the Knicks do bring in someone else, don't be surprised if there's a little like month or two where that guy struggles a little bit to adjust.
So you say that's a good point. So you're saying usually with Thibodeau players, the veterans kind of have like a little bit of a learning curve because of the system, and it just
I think Thibodeau is a guy that he doesn't really like work to your skill set. He makes your skill set like he makes you adjust until his system. Like that's what we've seen from Hartenstein this season. Like Hartenstein is not a drop big. He's not a guy who just never touches the ball on offense, but he's making it work now. But it took him a while to adjust. Like I think even with Fournier, he kind of had Fournier playing like in the Reggie Bullock role. When Fournier can do that, he's capable of being just a spot-up shooter. But Fournier is a guy who, when he was in Orlando, even a little bit in Boston, where he'd get a pick and roll touch every now and then, and he could create And even though his drives to the rim are ugly, he was kind of good at it, and he was a good passer, and he just never got a chance to do that. So, and he mentioned it himself too, as well, that it took him a while to adjust to his role. So I think it's a very real thing.
It's definitely a real thing. We talk about Tibbs not adjusting all the time here to his personnel. We talked about Obi being using Obi like Sean Marion when he came in, being compared to Amari Stoudemire. We talked about that for a long time. Like, how many pick and rolls have been run for Obi since he's been in a Knick uniform, where he's like the dive man? Probably less than 20, and I don't even think I'm exaggerating. Like, I think that might be the actual number. So Tibbs be tipping sometimes, which is why I feel like we eventually gonna have to move on because of that. But it's kind of crazy.